Okay, welcome back. Like I mentioned at the tail end of my last video, I want to get working on the box beams. There's one for each side of the car. Attaches to the inner sill, runs from the pretty much from the front wheel well to behind the door, and that provides a lot of strength. The piece itself is just under 53 inches long. My little bending brake is just a cheap one from Princess Auto, and it's only 30 inches long. What I'm going to have to do is lay it all out, get all my lines on it ready for bending, and then I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to bend each half separately, and then hopefully everything lines up and I can weld it back together again. There's the plan for it. I got that off of the internet, off of Barney's MGA Guru website. And this is the end view, and it's a little bit nasty. It's hard to follow this, but basically when you first bend it, it looks like this, but then you have to bend this corner up so that that line is parallel with the top. So you can see well, the difference in the degrees, 112 to 132. So there's a 20-degree difference in the bend from one end to the other. So that should be interesting. I figure the one end, I'll probably bend it to the lowest angle, and the other end I'll bend it to the tightest angle, and then I'll bend them both to meet in the middle. Sounds easy, but I'm not so sure it's going to be. In my last video, somebody inquired about the fan I have there. Yes, it's been very hot, and I've had the fan running because this room, I don't know if you can see it back over there. It was originally, or the fellow that I bought the place from used it for a meat locker. So it's got a bar across the top there for hanging his meat. He was a hunter, so he'd hang his meat in here, and that little device with the lights on allows that air conditioner to take it down to lower temperature. So I don't use it for that, but in this kind of weather that we're having, which is extremely hot, I think it was over 40 degrees with the, or at least feels like, I think it got up to about 34 yesterday, feels like 40. So I turn that on, and I turn on the fan to blow the air out into the shop. So I think I've only used that twice in the 3 years I've been in here, but up here in northern Saskatchewan, it generally doesn't get unbearably hot. Okay. You can see all the swirl pattern on the sheet. This sheet already had a little bit of surface rust just from storage. And this nylon cup brush here does a great job of cleaning that up. So that's what caused all the swirls on the sheet steel. I'm working on the box beam for the sills, and I've got one all cut out here, and you can see how it's all my lines are laid out on it. I have an extra line across here, and that's where I'm going to cut it into two pieces so I can bend it. But before I do that, I am going to flip it over. I've actually transferred all my lines to the other side, I could lay out my second one from the drawing, but I'd have to, in my head, flip everything as I'm laying it out. And it's a little easier for me to just transfer the lines over like this. And then I will, I'll just go back and check them and verify them after the fact. I don't really think that the actual dimensions for this box beam have to be all that precise. I mean, you want it very, very close, but you know, the way it just runs through the sill, and then it's got the outer sill that covers it and hides everything. I don't think it's a precision piece. Okay, so now that I've transferred those, I need to connect the lines. And then I'll have the two of them laid out. I'll need to make that one cut to trim it off. But, okay, that'll give me the left and the right. And now another problem that I can foresee coming. I'll put this back up on here for a minute to show you. There it is. Okay. This doesn't look right. There. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I transferred the marks onto a small piece of cardboard, and I only did it at the smaller end of my panel. Now, what I've done is I've bent it. The first two bends won't be all that difficult. I can go ahead and bend them up. I got to bring you over here so you. Okay, now the first two bends shouldn't be all that hard to do. I can bend them up, no problem. I did have to grind away in here a little bit for where it would stop so I can go over center. But, anyway, so I can bend both of those. But after I've got this bent up, and it will look something like this, I think. Now I have to be able to get that in, to get it underneath there. That's the only way I can bend these legs back up, the flanges. I mean, other than doing it on my anvil and hammering it all the way along. So what I'm going to have to do is modify my my brake. This is just a cheap little brake. I think it cost me $30 or something like that. Not very much anyway. So I'm going to cut it out. I have to cut it down to about 1 3/4 inches, which is the smallest distance, so that this can now fit all the way into there with this bent down. And then I'll be able to make my final bends. So this cutout is exactly 26 1/4 long. That's what my pieces are. When I cut that in half, my pieces will be 26 1/4, and that's what I've got in here. Actually, I've got about 26 1/2. So I'll cut that out with my zip cut, clean it all up. The other problem I've been running into in the past is it bending, because it's only welded from there to there. Just a minute, bring in a little closer. Okay. It's only welded from here to there. So when I was bending something that was a little too heavy, it would bend right through here, and this would drop down, and I'd have to bend it up and take my sledgehammer and hammer on it right here to bend it back up again. So that's a weak point. So before I do this, I think I'm going to weld a gusset in here to try and strengthen that. So I'll get my pieces ready and cut out, and I'll maybe set up the camera while I'm cutting this out. But yeah, hopefully that works, and if it doesn't, well, it's no great loss. I can always get myself another one or patch it up. Okay, I'm just trying to clean this up so I can weld the gussets in there. A little bit hard to get right in the corner with this. I'm going to go and get my my die grinder and clean up in a little closer to the corner. Yeah, then I gotta find some material. I think actually this here will do. Got a couple of pieces off of this flat bar. It's about 3/16. It's a little bit lighter than the angle, but not by, pretty darn close. That's going to do it. We'll get a gusset for die grinder. Okay, I can't quite make it all the way into the corners with the grinding disc, so I'm going to finish it off with the jigsaw. Okay, I'm just about ready to weld this thing up. I've got my gussets cut out, so I'm going to weld one on each end like that, and hopefully that'll make it stiff enough. It may still flex too much in the middle. If it does, I might have to put another bar or a straight edge or a straight flange, I guess you'd call it, I don't know, from one end to the other to increase the stiffness. But we'll see how this works out. So as you can see, the cutout I made. Now my pieces, you see, they fit in between there, and I can get all the way in to bend the, even the smallest end. So hopefully I haven't weakened it too much, and that'll get the job done for me. And then the other thing I have to worry about is the bench. So if I've got this thing looking something like that, and I want to put it in to bend it, I've got to keep it away from the bench. So I think when I mount it back over on my other bench, I'm going to put down a couple of 2x4s first and screw those down to the bench, and then mount this to the 2x4s And that, I think, is going to give me enough clearance. So, get the welding done. Have to let that cool down quite a bit before I carry on, but I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, that should stiffen it up immensely. Now just let her cool off, and then I'll mount it back to the bench. I've got my piece all clamped in here. Let's see how this is going to work. Now this first bend has to bend up 110 degrees. So far so good. Now that is not yet 110 degrees. I'm going to back these off a little bit. Now, okay, I think I got it. Actually bent a little bit past in here. And 110 degrees. That's pretty close, you know? Very close. Okay, so now next bend is only up about 23 degrees. $23 degrees. You know, I don't know if that's how I can even get in there and measure it, but If anything, I might have gone even a bit too much already. We'll get it out of there and see. Maybe. It's pretty heavy duty. Not easy to bend. Let's see. Actually, that's pretty darn close. I call that lucky, but maybe a little bit too much. Okay, so now the trick is going to be, I'm going to have to transfer my marks to the other side. And for this, I could just get a tape measure. Measure in 1/2 inch, because that's what it is. Moment of truth. Well, this one just fits. The bigger one's going to be an issue, but I'll probably have to do the other bend first. I don't know. Might have to raise this whole thing up even further to do the other one. But let's see what. Now, this is where I need spacers. At least one everywhere I'm going to put the clamp. One is less than 90 by about 5 degrees. So it's got to go up 85 degrees. A little bit more yet. Let's see now. 85. I think just a bit more. Well, I'm going to call that good. So far, so good. Now, can I get there? Yeah, I think so. Every time I'm going over there, I'm looking at this. So I'm looking at big end. Well, here they go. 48 degrees is the initial bend. So 48 degrees. Pretty close to a 45. Let's see now. Okay, so there's 48 degrees. Yeah, it's got to come a bit more than that. Pretty close. It may have even gone too far. Okay. Now, I'm really happy with that, but I still, at this end, this has to get more bend to it. And that's pretty stiff. Flex it a little bit. I think what I'm probably, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But at this point, that bend from 23 should be bent about another 10 degrees to about 33. And that's going to take a little doing. Anyway, I'll figure that one out. I'll get the other one to this point at least. And yeah. Once again, I do my 110 degree bend. Hundred and ten. I'd say that's pretty close. Okay, so next, okay, I think I've got that bent about right, so I'm going to take it out of the clamps. Not very precise, but I think it's going to be all right. Okay, 48 degrees. I think it needs a bit more than that. All right, I don't know how well this is going to show up, but obviously this has to come up to here. And then this side has to get bent down more. This side has to come up a bit. This side's going to have to go down a bit. It's, remember, the angle changes right the way along. So I have to kind of meet in the middle somewhere. So I think if if I start off like this, that bend angle is almost perfect. And yeah, then I'll have to bend that down and this up until they meet. And on this side, I'm not sure what has to happen. It probably has to get squeezed in some. Okay, it's coming together pretty good. A few more tacks on it here. To heat up just a little. I had it in the vise because I had to bend this side a little bit more and I had to unbend this one a little bit to get them to come together. But right now, I think it looks pretty good. I'm getting pretty good. The last few spots I did, I'm getting good penetration. Some of the first ones, I don't think I had the heat up enough, so. But I think I'm getting pretty good penetration now. And I'll probably weld it on both sides anyway, where I'm not getting good penetration. Anyway, I think that is looking pretty good. A little more welding and make it more solid, and a little tweaking on the bends. That's going to work. Okay, I have finished up the welding. Well, we can't see it from back there, but I think they're looking pretty good. One thing I didn't pick up on when I was first looking at the plan, that there has to be 3 notches along the bottom, which I presume are just for drainage. But I've marked those out, so I'll have to cut those. And that's pretty much where I'm going to end this video. It's getting way too long again. I still have to fabricate the end caps. In addition to the end caps, there are 2 gussets that just fit in there. 2 at the front door pillar, the A pillar, and there's 2 at the B pillar. And they're all going to be a different size because this thing just tapers down from one end to the other. So it's not like one gusset is going to fit everywhere. Same thing with the 2 ends, they're different. So they'll all have to be done with wooden bucks to form the flanges on them. I'll do that on the next video. So for now, we wrap this one up here. I'm pretty happy with the results so far. And anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, it would help the channel out a lot. I've got a long way to go to get to 1,000 subscribers, which is where you have to get to get any money out of YouTube. Yeah, so subscribe, hit the notification button, go on back, and we'll keep working on Dolly. Thanks for watching.